girls, a man who needs no introduction but will do it anyway, Mr. Peter Cullen!
Love this guy.
We love you. Till all are one.
My whole heart. You know, we're a kindred spirit somehow. And for years, I've always wanted to share the feelings that I've had with you, with another person. And it was only until recently that this man decided to go with me. I want to introduce perhaps the greatest voice actor in the history of animation. I call him the King.
He kind of is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, His Royal Highness and Majestic, and all those other words that we the King himself, Frank Welker. So I pumped a few extra pounds of air in the tires.
Oh. Wow.
Before we begin, if I may, first of all, I want to say thank you all for making me feel so welcome. You all have been fantastic. Each and every one said thank you for coming. I appreciate that so much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Chris, kid who invited me this year. And of course, if it wasn't for the real king, Peter Cullen, who we say in the business, in show business, we have a saying, generous actor. And what that means is not somebody who gives out things other than like money or fruit. What Peter gives out is pure love, and what he does for his fellow actors is called being generous. Whether it's a script, new actors, he makes sure they get the best lines, and this is all true. When things are going, he makes sure that somebody gets a chance to audition. And when he talks about me, he always says something very, very nice. And I love him dearly, my arch nemesis and very good friend, Peter Cullen. Thank you,
When you first said it, do you mind? Like, I'm going to argue with Megatron. Yeah, do what you want to do, man. They're not here to see me.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. After all, I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons.
Hail Megatron! Oh, man. Taking sides already.
Yes, my
Wait one moment.
Look who's woken up.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
Why do you spend your time on such pathetic rubbish?
Megatron, what happened to you, my brother? Why did you go astray? Why?
You won't know until the 15th new episode.
And there's some truth to it.
A lot of times we have no idea till we get those scripts, right?
Never have an idea. Never. I think it's an impossible thing to track because you never know where the brilliant minds who write these scripts are going to take you. And it's always an adventure for me and for Frank or for anybody for that matter to find out what's going to go after the next episode. Because how far can you take something? And they're brilliant writers, as we all agree.
Yeah. And they'll bring in a lot of new talent, and then they, kind of mine them for new creative ideas, see where they can go up, but still keeping the basis of the franchise as it is, but still looking for new things. So when you read a script, and we go and read a script, we're going, oh, wow, yeah, that's cool. This is good. Oh, yeah. Keep her going.
Keep it classy.
The original what?
The original movie. Page 17, you mentioned something about that, reading the script in the original movie.
Oh, God.
They're asking about the original animated film.
The original animated film, you and I were together.
Yes.
I think it was page 17.
Yes. I remember it well, too.
And I find that I'm getting axed,
Whoa!
smacked, rubbed out,
Whoa!
literally cut
No,
from the pages. And
neither of us could believe it.
I said, I can't believe it, Frank. This is amazing. Where are they going to go from here, And actors basically, there is a sensitivity that is measured by your ability to perform and how well you perform, or for that matter, how poorly you perform. In that case, I was thinking, I must really suck as
Never!
It's kind of like being in a soap opera, and if you're a challenging, contentious person, and that gets on the nerves of other actors, producers, writers, directors, they'll get rid of you. Quite easily done in a soap opera. What happened to Martha last week?
She came down with a horrible cold.
Is this the beginning of pneumonia?
Mm-hmm.
So we can expect perhaps going to a funeral in 2 weeks. Poor Ethel.
Well, there's more lines for me.
But it was a shock, and I don't remember exactly what the whole reasons were, but as what happens sometimes in the world, good things happen, and obviously the correct thing happened, and Optimus Prime came back.
Well, I think it was for 3 shows, Frank. I never knew. On to the next gig, and while you were busy doing Transformers, I was doing, I don't know.
Many, many shows. Many, many shows.
Have either of you ever IMDb'd yourself? I mean, really, your credits go on forever.
Busiest guy in the business, right there.
I only Google Frank. And I do that so I can humiliate myself. I like to look at Frank and say, see what you have to accomplish before you can become a master. Because he is the king.
Oh,
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night
Let's go on, shall we? It's like the missing steak, which I don't know what that's all about. So.
Oh!
Either do I.
There
Because
was no
one of
comment.
you started that.
There was no comment at BotCon. You just opted not to comment about it. You commented about the parking spot.
But where did that come from? What was the steak all about? I mean,
Peter told a story about the steak at 2012 BotCon. Where was this?
Can you repeat that, please?
There's apparently a steak involved, and Frank is thrown into the bus.
Like you two would go to dinner after Transformers, Frank would go to the bathroom and you would like get rid of his steak or something.
Apparently
You would hide it.
you're stealing food off of Frank's plate.
this sounds realistic, but
But sometimes Frank, like you had this running gag, like he would do it and then Frank would do it and that's
I told that story in confidence. Knowing that Frank would never come to a convention where somebody would snitch on him. Okay.
I'm finding out a lot of information. Thank you.
See what you've been missing out on so long, Frank?
It's all make-believe.
Yes,
I'll talk to you later, woman.
So you had a question for us?
Well, actually, I had a lot of questions, in fact.
Oh.
We pulled some of our Transformers enthusiasts, and we got a few questions from them. One of them was, many voice actors realize they have a talent for creating voices. When and how did you find your talent?
Ooh. Awkward silence.
Actually, as far back as I can remember, which is 2.5 weeks ago. It's very sad. But as you get older, no, actually, when I was little, I can remember being able to mimic sounds of things I heard, like crickets and birds. Yes, I heard that. A little girl went, she said, David Kay has already done that. That's what she just said. No, actually, David's my friend. He's right out there. He's doing very funny things, too. Very good sounds. But bird sounds, I remember sitting at a table listening to a sparrow outside. And it just resonated. Or a cricket. And so I thought, well, my brother goes to college. They all make noises. And actually, early on, I started trying to do impressions and sounds, and I thought, you know what, that's what I like doing. It's fun, and there's a business out there somewhere that, wants you to make noises and act silly. Except for in school, that was office. Do that, Rick, one more time. Office. I'm going. I think it's part of, being obnoxious and bothering people. That's all part of the business. So, your turn. I know he was just as bad, if not worse, than me.
Office.
Yes, office.
Oftentimes, I would get kicked out of class a lot for impersonating a teacher.
Everyone does that now.
One time, the teacher walked out of the class, and we have two doors. One that came in that door, and then at the back of the class, there was another door.
Whoops.
So he went out the first door near his desk, and I took the opportunity to impersonate him. So I was going, I had everybody laughing and laughing and laughing, and then all of a sudden the laughter stopped. And I kept on going, and kids were all laughing. I looked around, and there was Mr. Thrasher, and that was his real name, Thrasher. I'm telling you the truth. So he said, Mr. Cullen, sit down. Then he walked to the front of the class, went out, came back, and I did it again. But this time, he was gone for a little while. He had gone to get the principal. And so I am now have the classroom's attention, and I'm still doing Mr. Thrasher. And all of a sudden, there's that quiet again. And in the window of the door in the front was the principal and Mr. Thrasher, and they're looking in, and everybody shuts up again. I just, and I looked over and, whoa, boy! Oh, boy! They walked in, and the principal said, continue. Continue. So I did.
Did you
Kids
enjoy
started
it?
laughing again, and I said, wow, I got to put this stuff together. This might work. That was the office.
So you're basically saying that Mr. Thrasher was your inspiration for Optimus Prime, and your principal was Mafia Hitman?
Is that kind of like saying an elastic band is compared to a rocket? I don't know. Chris, Frank and I, have a very similar background. That's why we became such great friends over the many years. And he would floor me. He would do sounds, and I said, I can't do that. But I would come up, I would do something just on the spur of a second, and he would just get cracked up. Well, that was a great inspiration.
May I
Go ahead.
add one request?
Yes.
A semi-truck in idle.
I don't know if I can do that
This
anymore,
is-
Frank.
Now imagine yourself, first of all, sitting in a session, a very serious session, trying to do your lines, and you hear this.
I can't.
Well, that brings us to another really good question. What was the first job as a voice actor that you ever had, and what do you really remember of it?
First job as a voice actor. Okay. I was working in a summer stock theater, and as a grip and apprentice making sets, washing old sets and painting new sets. And they had a malfunction with a recording when they needed a baby to cry off set, off the stage. And they were panicking because it was very essential to the plot of the story, because it kicked off, I guess, several important things to happen. So I went to the backstage manager and I said, I think I can do a voice, I can do a baby sound. He said, can you? She said, well, he's coming up like in 5 seconds. So I said, and he goes, so I put my but it worked. They bought it. And I ended up doing it for the next week because it was a 7-day production.